Hey guys, and welcome to Nicrit. In today's video, I'm going to be making one of these cute little mini pets when it is standing. There's two different versions of this, one where it's standing, and then next week I'm going to be doing one where they're sitting. I have a picture right here of what that looks like. I sold the sitting one in my recent batch of critters, so I can't actually show that right this second until I make another one. But we're going to be making a red standing mini pet to go along with my cute little crewmate buddy here with the little leaf hat that I made in my last video. The sitting one, next week I'm going to be doing one where they're sitting. I have a picture right here of what that looks like. I sold the sitting one in my recent batch of critters, so I can't actually show that right this second until I make another one. But we're going to be making a red standing mini pet to go along with my cute little crewmate buddy here with the little leaf hat that I made in my last video. The sitting one is a bit more on par for when these guys turn into, say, one of these guys from one of these guys. As you can see, I've kind of gone crazy with the whole Among Us crochet situation going on here. I've been crocheting way too much Among Us, but everybody seems to be liking it, so I'm just kind of going with whatever the creative flow takes me. I'm also posting stuff on TikTok now. I feel really old saying that. Like, I feel like I'm one of those old people that are just like, I made a TikTok. So if you're interested in seeing how I meddle around over on there, I am at Nicrit over on TikTok making some really silly, cringy videos. So, you know, you can pop over there and have some fun. All right, so for today's tutorial, you're going to want to be comfortable with what you've already done here. So if you've already made an Among Us crewmate right here, cool, you're going to be doing a lot of the same techniques because I basically just miniaturized it, essentially. You're going to want to be comfortable with working in the round, doing some chaining, some increasing, and some decreasing. I do invisible decreases. Again, this is a step-by-step, not a stitch-by-stitch tutorial, as most of my tutorials are. I find that really tedious to just go around and around and around the entire time, so I do it step-by-step. I will show how I do certain techniques and what I do to make those things. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. For this project, you're going to need some worsted weight yarn. I am using I Love This Cotton by Hobby Lobby. This is what I made for this guy and this guy. Actually, all of these guys here are made with the I Love This Cotton. I'm going to be using it with the red to match my red body over here, of course. And then also this sparkly, it doesn't really show up in the light that well, but it's the white sparkle. And I'm just using a normal black as well for the visor. And you don't need a lot. It is such a minuscule amount of yarn that you will need. You can use anything you want. This is a size 4 worsted weight yarn. Use what you got. That's what I say. But if you're going to go out and buy yarn anyway, this is what I'm using to make this look like this. I'm also going to be using a darning needle and some fluff. Very minute amount of fluff. Again, this is a very tiny little guy. You don't need a lot for it. I'm also going to be using my Furls crochet hook. I have links down below if you're interested in getting one of your own with my affiliate code down below. You get like 20% off or something like that. Crazy deals. Again, linked in the description. This is a D3 or a 3.25 millimeter crochet hook. You can use any kind of crochet hook that you want. I just like inline crochet hooks, and I like that this is ergonomic and it works really well, so I'm going to go with that. All right, so let's go ahead and start off with the body. This is a top-down pattern, so we're going to start with the top and go down and split off on the feet. This is very similar to what I do for the body of my crewmate. However, there is no center, so we're literally just going to be taking our work. I'm going to pop up a little pattern right here of what the body entails, and basically you're going to take your work, make a magic ring, and increase up to 18. Create your body for 5 rounds, and then you split off your legs. It's super easy, but I'm going to show how to do the increasing part anyway. Let's put him right over here and make a slip knot. I'm going to re-angle my camera, actually. There we go. So now that we've made a slip knot, actually I put it in the wrong way. There we go. Slip knot, you place it on your hook, and we're going to chain from, I go from left to right. You can go from right to left. It's however you want to do it. I'm dyslexic and I learned the wrong way, and this just still works anyway, but I just figured I would clarify. We're going to chain 2, and this is our magic ring, essentially. I am also, because of the dyslexia, unable to make a normal magic ring. Even though I can crochet a bunch of this stuff, I just can't wrap my brain around it. I don't know why. I tried really hard and I couldn't. So instead of doing the typical magic ring, we make my magic ring, which is when you chain 1 and 2, and you place your hook inside the very first chain that you made, and that is going to act as your magic ring. Essentially, it will get bigger and smaller depending on how you move around your work. So here we're going to place 6 single crochet inside of that magic ring. You can see that it's already starting to widen up. So 2, go back inside 3, 4, 5, and 6. You have a giant wide open hole. That is okay. Take your tail and lightly pull it, because with cotton, my goodness, cotton will snap in a second if you pull it too hard, and I am not going to be doing all this work for my amigurumi just for it to snap in half. I'm not going to do it. I just won't. I refuse. All right, so now we have 6 stitches as our starting first round. We are now going to go back around to the very first single crochet, and for every single stitch of our second round, we are going to put 2 stitches inside of each and every single one of those. So we're increasing every single stitch. That stitch again, we just put 2 stitches on the inside of that one first stitch. Go into the second stitch and increase that as well. 1, 2. Go into the third stitch and increase. Go into the next one. 1, and again 2. Go into the next one. 1 and 2. And I believe we should just have one more. 1 and 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. We went from 6 stitches up to 12 stitches, and now we only have one more increasing round, where we're going to be taking our stitches and going from 12 up to 18 stitches. We're going to single crochet 1 into the next stitch, and then in the next stitch, the second stitch of that round, we're going to place an increase. So 1 and 2. We're going to do that again, single crochet 1, and increase the entire way around. We're increasing 6 stitches, so we're going from 12 to 18. So single crochet 1 and increase, single crochet 1, increase, single crochet 1. Let's pull this a little bit, and increase. And I think we have one more to do. Single crochet 1 and increase. I lost track because there's some noise going on behind me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. When in doubt, count it out. All right, so now that we have 18 stitches, I like to take my tail and I'm going to pull that through like so. And I'm going to now single crochet around and around and around and around and around. So we're going to go around for 5 rounds to create our body. I'll be right back as soon as I get that done. All right, so now we have gone around for 5 rounds for all 18 of these stitches. Wicked quick, went by fast, went by in a flash. All right, so now we're going to split off our legs. We have 18 stitches, so our legs are going to be 19 stitches around on both pieces because we're making 2 legs, and 2 divided by 18 is 9. The way that I do this is I'm going to go into the next 4 stitches of my next round. This is kind of similar to what I did for my giant Among Us, it's just on a smaller scale. So 2, 3, and 4. And I'm going to do the same thing that I did again with my Among Us major body. We're going to count back 9 stitches because that's how many around that we want our leg to be. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is our 9th stitch. So I'm going to place our hook on the inside of it. I'm going to latch my loop from my other side onto my hook. It can be a little difficult. Apparently it's difficult. There we go. I can do that. And we're going to pull and slip that through our 9th stitch. I'm going to chain 1 just to kind of get things going again. And I'm going to then single crochet inside that same stitch that I slip stitched into. And I'm going to single crochet the next 5 stitches after that. So this is technically 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the 5th stitch of this round for my leg. 6, 7, 8, and 9. So now you have a choice. This bad boy, I went around for 4 rounds. Over here, I only did an additional 2 rounds. So I did my split my leg off, and then I did, well, for 4 rounds total, so I did 3 rounds after that, and then I did my decreasing. And then for over here, I think I prefer how my orange one looks more. It's a little bit shorter and a little bit stubbier, and he's cute. So I'm going to say, as I bounce my camera every single time, I'm going to only go around for 2 more rounds just to make it so that he's got short, stubby legs. If you prefer how the taller one looks, then, you know, go around an extra round. It's all up to you and what you prefer. So we're just going to go around 1, 2, 3, and your 4th stitch is going to look kind of like this, but I'm going to actually go through both of those loops on the top just to make it a little bit firmer as I drop my stitch. There we go. And then to go across, you're going to kind of skip your chain and go into the front of that stitch. 5, 6, 7. I need to pull my tail a little bit more. There we go. 8 and 9. I'm just going to double check that we have 9 stitches on our work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We still have 9, and we have 1 more round to go around to get it to the length of what we want for our legs for this orange one here. I like how this one looks better, so I'm going to just make shorter stubby legs, and it means less stitches overall, so I'm pretty happy with that. 2, 3, 4, E4. As I drop it every time. Okay, let's flatten this maybe so I don't keep dropping it. There we go. 4. My goodness. There we go. 5, 6, 7, 8, and our last stitch, 9. So we still have 9 stitches on our work. That is still too much for just closing it up the way that I usually do. So what I'm going to do is we're going to have 1 round of decreasing where I single crochet 1 and decrease to get it from 9 down to 6, which is a normal amount to just do pulling your tail through the final stitches for. So we're going to do 1. Actually, I think my stitches got all warped there. Yeah, there it is. That looked funky for a reason. There you go. 1. Let's try that again. And take these 2 stitches, and I go through the front loops of whatever 2 stitches that I want to decrease, and then I pull my tail through and through. There we go. My working yarn on my tail. The next one is just single crochet 1. We're only going to do this 3 times total, so we have only 1 more repetition after this one, and then go through both loops like so, pull through like a normal single crochet, and we have 1 more, 1, and then the last decrease is pull through and pull through like so. All right, we have 6 stitches left on our work. It still looks like a hole. I'm going to do the same thing that I did for my feet over there for my Among Us character. We're going to take our tail and we are going to snip it. We're going to pull our work all the way through. We're taking our darning needle and I'm going to put my thread through it. And now I'm going to take my stitches and I'm going to take my darning needle. I'm going to go through from the back and into the front for every single stitch, kind of tugging it, but not too much every single time. This is my third stitch, fourth, fifth, and sixth. And so now, before I pull it at all, I'm going to take my darning needle and I'm actually going to work it through the center of the leg, pull that through, and then I tug my feet hole closed, like so. And that makes a nice bottom right there. I'm going to take my tail and I'm going to tuck it back on the inside of my leg, just so that the tail will act as stuffing essentially. And I'm actually going to start taking a little bit of my stuffing and I'm going to feed it into my work. This is actually a little too thick for the foot, so here we go. And what I've noticed can help is these little marking pins that everybody keeps asking me about. They're clover marking pins. I got them from a store that no longer exists, but I'm thinking about trying to get a link for this down below from Amazon because it's just clover marking pins. It's super easy. People keep asking me about them and I use them to stick things on all the time. But also, when you're doing small amigurumi, I take the little end and I kind of use that to shove it where I want it to go, and it just works most of the time with how I want to do things. And I just kind of ball it and shove the small little bits where I want them, and if I need help packing it in, I use the tip to kind of slam it into where I want it to be. There we go. Sounds much more aggressive than I mean it to be. Alright, actually, no, before I start stuffing that part, we're going to take our tail up here and pull it through the center of the work. That way, I don't have to deal with it later. And I'm going to pull that in and act as if it is stuffing. Stuffing is my least favorite part of amigurumi, as many of you know. There we go. And I don't want to stuff too much before I start doing the second leg, but I am going to stuff it to give it a little bit of a shape, and I'm trying not to do too much at once. Just enough to give it shape, and also just enough that I'm not going to have a bunch of little tiny pieces of work there. Alright, you have 9 stitches remaining on your work. So here is what I like to do next. We're going to take our yarn and we're going to create a very long tail. I like to attach it with I have a good 6-inch tail because I'm going to use it to sew up the center of the legs right after. I hold it like so with a nice tail draping, and I'm going to take my hook and I'm going to pick it up and do a chain, and then I'm going to go back inside that same first stitch and I'm going to single crochet around. So 1, and then go into the next stitch, 2. We're picking up all 9 of these stitches that are remaining on our piece. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. That's our last stitch. And this is where things get a little hard to show, but we're going to essentially take our crochet hook, our tip, and go back into the very first. We're keeping our tail in the front, and we're going to work our crochet hook into the very first single crochet that you made and you attached right there. I like to try to keep my yarn taut during this period, and I have a hard time showing this. and we're going to finish our single crochet there, and we're going to work around for 2 more rounds. If you get confused about the numberage that you need or anything like that, I'm going to have a printable PDF for this on my Ravelry, like I do for most of my patterns that I post on here. It also will be in combination with the standing versus the sitting version of this. I'm going to have both of them in one PDF. That way it's just a little bit easier to handle. I think it'll be easier to just do one PDF for that instead of doing 2 really small amigurumis together. All right, before I finish off my last round around, I'm going to try to stuff a little bit more. And we're going to try, this is where things get a little bit difficult for this amigurumi. You'll notice there's a hole, A, in the center, which is fine. We will sew that up. And you can choose to either stuff through the leg hole or through the center hole, which we will be stuffing up. I like to go through the leg hole, because I find that if I put it through the center hole, I'm just making it wider when I don't want it to be. I don't want to, like, necessarily make that wider than it has to be. So see how that can, I have to do it a couple times, but it works. There we go. And we're going to keep going with more stuffing. I do small, tiny little bits at a time when it comes to this. And I try to guide it so that it's going wherever I feel there's not enough. So I don't think there's enough over there. So I'm going to shove more stuffing over onto the other side there. I'm going to pull on my tail a little bit just because I want to. There we go. I'm making all these little tiny bits. And we're essentially replicating what we did on the other leg. We have 1 more round to go around, and then I'm going to decrease as second time. And then we're going to work on the visor, and we're going to work on the backpack last, I think. Usually I do the backpack in the middle when I'm actually making them, but, you know, que sera. So we're going to keep stuffing this until it's the size that I want. I'm going to go around 1 more round with these 9 stitches real quick. So this is the last stitch of that previous round, and now I'm going to go around for 9 more stitches. 1 E. There's fluff everywhere. 2, 3, 4, 5. It can be pretty tight, so be patient with yourself and with me. 7, 8, 8. There we go. I tell what, short messed me up. And that last stitch right there is 9. We are going to stuff a little bit more. I find that if I stuff heavily here, I can kind of navigate it down towards the leg afterwards. So I try to stuff it as full as I can without it being overwhelming. First, I like to try to take my little bobbin and kind of wiggle it around so that there's actually a space for it to go into, and then I take it and I try to aggressively shove fluff where it does not want to go. There we go. Alright, I think we should just need 1 more just to cap it off, and then I will be taking my last stitches and closing them up. There, that is, yeah, that sounds good. And so now we're going to repeat what we did for our decrease round over on the other side. We're going to single crochet 1 and go from 9 stitches down to 6 by single crocheting 1 and then decreasing. We're going to take these 2, 1, 2, and decrease. Single crochet 1, 1, 2, decrease, single crochet 1, and decrease. There we go. All right, we're going to cut our tail. Pull that through. Do the exact same thing with our tail for this foot. We're going to pull our tail through the final 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. Might help if I'm in screen. There we go. And 6. It is open. We're going to do the same thing where I feed our tail through the center of our work and pull like so. And the tighter it is, the better it looks, and I am pretty happy with how that overall looks. He's cute, he's stubby, I am happy with how he turned out. We're going to then take our tail and go through a separate angle. I always like to try to go through 2 separate directions. That way, if it does come unraveled for whatever reason, it is not a big deal. All right, we're going to do the same thing for the center of our little legs here. We're going to take our center, kind of splay it open a little bit, and we're going to take and do a little mattress stitch real quick. We're going to go back and forth across the stitches that are just open and just kind of sew it up real quick. I pull it nice and tight, that way it kind of gives the legs a bit more form, I find. And I'm going to stab his thread through the rest of his body, and we're going to start working on the visor. Alright, so now we're going to our sparkly white yarn for the visor. We are going to do a little slip knot, put it onto our work, and I'm going to chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to single crochet into the skip the last chain. There we go. We are going to skip the last chain and single crochet into the next 2 chains. So 1 and 2. That leaves you 1 more chain that I put a double increase in. And again, if you've done the visors on the big ones, you know what a double increase is. That's basically where we take and go inside this stitch and put a single crochet, and then you add 2 more single crochet on top of that. So there should be 3 stitches within this single chain right here. 1, 2, 3. I like to tug on my tail because that likes to open up. And now we're going to go into the next 2 chains on the back side. We're flipping our work and go 1 and 2. And on the last chain, we're going to do another double increase. So 1, and then the first increase, and then the second increase. So 3 stitches within that single chain. I'm going to pull on this a little bit, and now we are going to single crochet into the next 3 single crochets. So 1 into the next 1, and then this is the 3rd one. 1. And on this rim here, we're going to add a normal increase. So we're just going to put 2 stitches in this very tight stitch. There we go. We're going to go our normal, and then we're going to add an increase. And then we're going to just single crochet 1 after that. And I'll be popping up my little guys here so you can keep track there too. Single crochet 1, 2, and then single crochet into the 3rd stitch. Do the same thing again where we put an increase, 1 and 2. And on the last single crochet, what I like to do is we're going to go through and pull up our first loop, and then we're going to actually take our black yarn and we're going to pull that out and pull this here, and I'm going to actually hold it to the back just like I did for when I was changing my colors from my Among Us. I'm going to pull that through And now we're just going to single crochet around. I'm not unattaching anything quite yet. We're just going to single crochet all 12 of these stitches for one round, just to give this nice black border for our little guy. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it's going to want to try to flip on itself. Flip it the other way. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Here I slip stitch into the very first stitch that I did for that round. And now I'm going to leave a nice long tail for sewing, probably about 8 inches or so. I'm going to pull that through, and we're going to take our active white yarn, which is, they're both pretty long. There we go, this one, and our tail from the black. I'm going to tug on both of them to try to make them tight, and then I'm going to double knot it. 1, just to cement it in there so it doesn't come unraveled for any reason. And 2. Then going to take all of my tails, not the one that I'm going to be sewing with, but this tail's on the inside, and I'm going to leave about, not even, about ½ an inch, and I'm going to just snip it like so, and move that out of the way, and move this out of the way. So now all those can go on the inside of the visor, and it's nice and hidden. And I'm going to take my hook and go in the stitch underneath where I just fastened off, and I'm going to pull it out, pull this kind of through it, and that's how I have my tail. And then I'm going to just sew that onto the front of the face with the tiniest little bit of some thread, and I'm going to take my marking pin and use that as a guide. So that's about where I want it. I'm just going to go sew that on, and then we're going to work on our little backpack. For the backpack, you're going to pick whatever yarn color you're using for your main body. I'm using red again, so I'm going to create a slip knot. I'm going to pick up and make 3 chains for this backpack. 1, 2, and 3. We're going to skip the first chain from our hook and go into this middle one, so basically the second one that you made. And we're going to just single crochet 1. We're then going to go into the very last chain and do a double increase again. So 1, 2, and 3. We're going to pull our tail just to make it so it's nice and easy. And now we're going to go in across on the back of our chain ridge, and we're going to single crochet 1, and then we're going to do another double increase. 1 on the very last chain on the back. 2 and 3. This is our base little square. We're about to make it even more square. So the way that I do that is we're going to single crochet 1, double increase 4 times total. So we're going to single crochet this one, do a double increase, which creates 1 corner of your square. 1, 2, 3. Go into the next stitch with just a single crochet. Go into the next stitch after that with a double increase. 1, same stitch, 2, same stitch, 3. Then the next stitch, just 1 single crochet. Stitch after that, double increase, 2 and 3. Single crochet 1 into the next. And then this should be the last one. Single crochet 1, 2, and 3. This makes it nice and square. And so what I'm going to do after this is we're going to work through the back loops only for one round. How I do that is I like to just go into the back stitch, not the front loop, which I've been working mostly through the front loop, or if you've been working through both loops, that's fine. But now you're going to go through the back loop only, which leaves the front loop kind of laying across the front, which creates a nice ridge. So 1, 2, all these stitches for row 3, 4 are going to have this nice ridge just left on the front. 6, and we're going to keep going all the way around. There should be 16 stitches on your work, and so you're going to do this for all 16 of your stitches, making sure your work stays right side out. And we're still going, and this is our last row. So after this, I'm just going to slip stitch off and sew everything together, and then you're pretty much done, which is super exciting. All right, that is a slip stitch off moment. That creates our nice little backpack. I'll show you how I do that, attaching it. We're going to move that. I'm going to do the same thing where I pull my tail on the underside. That just makes it look smoother in my opinion. I haven't attached the visor quite yet. I wanted to get this done. So I'm going to take whatever side I want my face on, put the visor on that. Then I'm going to, you can just cut this, but I tend to just kind of ball it up and put it on the inside. It acts as kind of stuffing. And I'm going to take my backpack and line it up however I want. I like to try to squish it so that it is a bit more backpack-esque. And I'm going to take my marking pin, go through the center again, do some wiggling. There we go. And attach it. So I'm going to go sew those on real quick, and then I will be right back. Alright, so once you are all sewn up, that's pretty much all there is to this video. I have a playlist for more Among Us creatures if you are interested in those. I have some cadavers, dead bodies, imposters, all kinds of fun stuff if this is the kind of Amigurumi that you're interested in. So let me know down below. Let me know if my comments have been turned off again, because they keep turning off and I have no idea why. No one's given me any answers. I have gone to YouTube and it's just not really a fruitful adventure going over there, so I'm just wondering why. So I've been just trying to keep them on because I know that people like to leave comments, ask questions. I try to answer as many as I can. I respond as often as I can. Again, there will be a printable PDF for this and the sitting Amigurumi version of the little mini pet. So if you would like that, all of that is going to be linked down below. I have affiliate links down below. Everything's down below. My Patreon is down below. If you are interested in supporting us monetarily, no pressure, but we do have Patreon and PayPal links again in the description. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to us. We've got quite the little bit of community going on around here. I also have a Discord where we have quite a bit of fun over on our Discord, so shout out to everybody who talks to me over there. And until next time, guys, the next video will be of my little sitting dude. Bye!